Welcome to John Esser Sports Channel as we delve into Championship Week 17 predictions, and do like and subscribe if you like it, and do come and watch our live stream on a Saturday afternoon where we go through all the scores from the Premier League, Championship, League One, and I know some of the League Two sides as well. We're going to go into the predictions here with Hull City versus Ipswich. Now we've got Hull City in 6th. I mean, after that embargo, why and how are they here? They've been doing some good football, and they've been using the fact that there's been a lot of inconsistency with all the teams in this division. It's very, very even, isn't it, this league? And they've just been able to keep up there, really quite surprisingly for me. But Ipswich in 8th have only lost 3. That, for me, they've had a really good defence, really solid defence, and we'll look at that in a minute. Hull City though, win, draw, win, lose. Last time out it was a QPR 3, Hull City 2. Hull City getting that lead twice and then losing it at the last minute. Look, Hull City weren't at the best here. They just didn't quite tick. They had almost 60% of the possession, 8 shots, 4 on target, 2 in the net. The percentages are great, but the number of shots really weren't great. They managed to burst into the QPR half a few times, and they occasionally had a quick shot. But when you wait in 10 minutes for them to have a shot at target, and only 2 of them were blocked, by the way. As a fan, I was looking at this thing. As a fan of football, you're looking at it thinking, from a neutral perspective, it was a little bit boring from the Hull City side, but from the QPR side, 26 shots out of their 40% possession, and 8 of them on target, 3 in the net. They did a really good job. They would have been absolutely astounded that they didn't win this by 3 or 4 goal margin, but Hull City, on the other hand, will have been thinking, it could have been worse, or that they may be thinking, we went ahead twice. Well, how did we not just batten down the hatches and park the bus at the back, and try and keep the win? But in the end, it was a defeat for Hull City. Ipswich then lose, win, draw, and in the last 5 games they've let in 1, 0. And to me, they have had a good defence all the way through the season. The 6th game ago, 3-0 defeat at home to Charlton was just a curved ball. I didn't see that coming at all, and none of you saw it coming either. So we did well there. Not so. This Ipswich side, last time out at home to Wrexham, Ipswich 0, Wrexham 0, and the Wrexham side had 0 shots, a third of the game possession-wise, and 2 shots at goal. Well, there's 2 shots at target, 0 shots on target. They were in their back. They were in their half all that game. To be fair, they never looked anywhere near like winning this game for me. However, Ipswich 19 shots, 8 on target, and 0 goals. They've usually been quite clinical. They've usually been able to put the ball in the net. Huge amount of passing by the Ipswich side, but there again, you expect it if the other team's backs against the wall and they get 0 shots on target. You expect them to have one of the best passing rates in the game week, don't you? Now, in the last 4 games, we have to remember Ipswich have won 2 of them, and both of them they've won 4-0, and both of them away from home. Here, they're away from home again. Third away from home game. Third away from home game. Will it be a third 4-1 win away from home? Well, Hull City are actually they're doing well, but they are letting in goals. They've let 5 in the last 2 games. A little bit inconsistent, but They're using the fact that the league is so level to be able to stay up there, and good on them. They have done some really good football during these opening 16 games, and they are doing well considering that they had that embargo at the beginning of the season. No doubt about it. So what are you lot saying? 1-2, 0-1, 1-2, 2-1, 2-3, and 1-4. I can see where the person's coming from with 1-4. I'm going to go with Hull City 1, Ipswich 4. I just think 3 in a row. Why not? Why not? Let's go to the next game, which is Middlesbrough versus Coventry. This is an interesting one. Stay tuned as we go into that one. So it's Middlesbrough in second, Coventry in first. Coventry have lost 1 game, Borough have lost 2. And there's a good 7-point gap here. Can we see Borough overcoming this? Well, Borough win, draw, lose, draw, win, draw. Obviously, they have just announced their head coach. Do see my short video for the announcement there. Will it be a new manager bounce? Will it be? Now, this side has capabilities. They have ability. They have technical ability. They have style, they have class, but Borough just seem to have been misfiring. And they haven't been themselves for many games for me. Win, draw, lose, win, draw, lose, draw, win, draw. You can hear how insanely up and down it is. Oxford won, scoring first. Borough won, and you look at this game and you think it's very much like the Ipswich game we were talking about, where Borough were well on top here. I mean, in fact, they had 70% possession, and it did look like it really, and it really did. 19 shots, but only 3 on target. This Borough side just don't seem to be able to. There's no the linkage just doesn't seem to be there. Their abilities are there. It shines through. They had the best, I think it was, passing stat of the entire game week, and yet they just couldn't. They couldn't get it. That passing stat wasn't in the final third. It was in defence. It was in midfield. Get it into attack, passing it into attack, getting those through passes or that lob into the box just wasn't there. And the Borough side really struggled to get a shot on target here. About half of their 19 shots were blocked. It was just a case of hammer it towards goal. So this Borough side tried the hardest, but try as they might, they just couldn't get one on target, or at least on target that wasn't blocked. Oxford did a good job there in defence. Parking the bus at the back, did it work? Yes, it did. Oxford won, Borough won. Oxford only had 2 shots in the entire game on target, 9 shots in total. They would have been pleased that they didn't lose this one, absolutely. But Borough would have been going home with a tail between the legs. Coventry City, win, lose against Wrexham, win. Last time out, Coventry 3, West Brom 2. Obviously, we had the Malumbi sent off there for West Brom on 49. Did it make a difference? I think it did. I think that their heads did hang a little bit after that. But then, come a little bit further into that second half, they actually seemed to pick up a little bit for me, West Brom. And you sort of thought, I just wonder if they can keep this lead. And of course they didn't. And they lose it 3-2. Coventry did run this game. They did run this game, and from the majority of the game, Coventry were the better side. West Brom just taking them on the break and managing to make them pay for their underestimation of the West Brom side. 24 shots from their 2/3 possession, Coventry, 11 of them on target. Ouch! But from 11 shots on target, 3 in the net. It's not bad for a sort of mid-table side, but they're not. They're first. So, I would have expected more of those 11 shots in the back of the net for a side in first place. But West Brom really did defend doggedly. They really did defend doggedly, taking Coventry on the break. Almost won this one, Coventry. Yep. I think West Brom would have been bitterly disappointed they didn't at least come away with a draw, and Coventry would have been thinking, "Phew, we managed to get away with that one." And there's been a couple of games where Coventry have done that in the last 3 or 4 or 5 games, where you've thought they've just managed to get away with that one. And of course, you've got the defeat there in 4 games ago, 3-2 away at Wrexham. So they're not infallible. Let's see what you think with Middlesbrough versus Coventry. 2-2, 1-1, 1-3, 1-2, 1-3 and 2-2. I think that this Coventry side is showing a little bit of inconsistency. I know you're going to tell me, yeah, we've won 3 in a row, we're winning all our games, we've only lost 1. You're talking rubbish, but just looking at how 1 or 2 of those games were just a little bit lucky, like the West Brom game. Can someone make them pay? If anybody can make them pay, it's a Borough side with a new manager. New manager bounce. I'm just concerned that it's let's see, 2-2, 1-1, 1-3, 1-2, 1-3 and 2-2. I'm going to go with the majority there. Borough 2, Coventry 2. Let's quickly move on to Stoke City versus Charlton. Now, Stoke City versus Charlton. Where are these in the table? We have Stoke City in 3rd position. They did drop a little bit, then they went back up again. Charlton, though, they started a little bit ropey, but they've started to get a little bit of form. That like I said, the league is so level that you can't tell nowadays. 1 or 2, one defeat and you're dropping down down the table. 1 win and you're rocketing up it. So it's an interesting league. However, it means that teams such as Charlton, you can't rest on your laurels. If you're in the middle of the table like they are, you've got to keep winning games and getting points just to stay where you are, because everybody else is just as inconsistent as they are. Lose, win, 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 lose for Stoke City. Last time out, it was a Leicester City 2, Stoke City 1. I was expecting more of the Stoke side, and they did have the majority of the game here. They passed just a little bit better. They kept the ball just a little bit better. They just seem to have a little bit better technical ability. And I think the stats that work with this game is 11 shots for Stoke City, 5 on target, 1 in the net. Leicester City are usually really clinical. 6 shots, 2 on target, 2 in the net. Not their usual conversion rate of shots to shots on target there. And actually, they just suffered from a little bit of Stoke City's really good defence. And, of course, their amazing goalkeeper. What's they got from Rotherham? So, yes, I think that defence really did it for me with Stoke City. They did really well. But their attack just didn't match the prowess of their defence. And it would have been Stoke City going home feeling aggrieved that they didn't get at least a point here. So Stoke City a little bit disappointed. And the game before, the Coventry game, Stoke City 0, Coventry 1, 86-minute winner there for Coventry. And again, this is what I mean about the Coventry side. So lucky. They had 3 shots, Coventry, 3 shots on target, Coventry, 1 in the net, and Stoke City 2 shots on target, none in the net. You see what I mean? Coventry just showing a little bit of a blip, if you like. If there is a blip in there, then that's it. And it's happening now. It's the only chance any team, I fear it's the only chance any team's got of winning them. So Charlton, win, draw, win, lose. Both teams have won 1 and then lost 2 of their last 3. However, Charlton 1, Southampton 5. Certainly didn't see that. Southampton not really being scoring. 60% possession, 23 shots. Charlton let them have 8 of them on target, 5 in the net. If you give a side of Premier League class the eyesight on goal, you will be punished. And that's what Charlton did. They let them in, they let them through, and they let them have far too many shots. Their defence just wasn't good enough, and their attack was feeble at best. 2 shots on target out of their 12. To be honest, a third of them were blocked, but that's not the usual thing for Southampton. Usually their issue in defence is that they push too many people up and they get punished. So in this game, that wasn't the case. They managed to get back quick enough to block shots, and I think in this game, Charlton will be the one, feeling really, really bad about this game. It was the right result. It could have even been a lot worse, to be quite honest. So Stoke City, Charlton, what are you thinking? 3-1, 2-0. 0-1, 1-1, 1-1 and 3-0. I think Stoke have too much ability up front. Yes, it didn't fire last time, but I think that they do have the ability against this Charlton defence that just seems was extremely ropey last time out. Do like and subscribe. Tell me, Charlton fans, if there was a particular issue here that led to you letting 5 goals in. I'd love to know. So I'm not going to go with you lot that are saying a Charlton. We always try and take your scores predictions into account. Stoke City, Charlton. I think that Stoke City will bounce back again after that 2-1 defeat. I'm going to go with Stoke City 2, Charlton 1. I think they will. Look, they do get a goal quite regularly, so I think they will score here. Swansea versus Derby County next, and Swansea versus Derby. Swansea started off the season looking like they could really do some good scoring ability on the pitch, and then it seemed to just fade away, didn't it? Derby in 12th, Swansea in 20th, and what's happened with the Swansea? Of course, we have a new head coach again here, don't we? So it's a win, lose, draw, lose. New head coach, Bristol City last time out. Bristol City 3, Swansea 0. They let one in 3 minutes for heaven's sake. Rob Dickey, of course, getting that one. But it was by no means one way. Swansea City played some damn good football, and they actually managed to keep the ball really, really well. Was this a 3-0 game? No, it wasn't. It was an even game. For me, if anything, the possession just marginally went towards Swansea City, but the rest of it was a typical mid-championship game. It was an even game. I would have said 1-1, 2-2 would have been a really good score here. Bristol City, 15 shots, 8 on target, 3 in the net. Swansea City, 17 shots, 5 on target, none in the net. So you can see here, it was just the fact that Swansea were just welling it towards goal. Not actually, there was no really good shots from that side that the Bristol City goalkeeper couldn't deal with, and he has been pulling off some crackers, hasn't he? The Bristol City goalkeeper. I've seen a couple of them, some remarkable saves there. So Bristol City would have been a little bit aggrieved that it was a defeat there. Swansea City would have been aggrieved it was a defeat there. Bristol City coming away with a win. Derby County then, win and lose to last time out to Watford. Derby 2, Watford 3, and TalkSport will be saying how well this Derby side have been doing, just scoring for the fun of it. Look, I saw this team, and at the beginning of the season, I'm thinking that side could score. That side can score, can't it? But it didn't. And then all of a sudden, they seem to have been able to do just that. So Derby County 2, Watford 3. What went wrong here? They're Derby at home, and they allowed Watford a huge amount of possession. Look, Watford made a little bit of benefit from that. They didn't do massively as good as what they should have done with the amount of possession they had. They were a little bit inconsistent with their passing, although their passing was actually really, really good. They did keep losing the ball. They did keep getting caught out by Derby County. But Derby County had 2 shots on target. Watford had 4. And, 2 shots for Derby on target, 2 in the net. 4 on target for Watford, 3 in the net. And that is just the story. They seem to be going forward. And both of them shooting, not regular, but every so often. 9 shots in total for Derby, 14 for Watford. It was a sort of not boring game, but it just didn't enthuse the neutral. And you were just wanting another shot on target constantly. Where's the next shot on target? Watford, I think, Derby will be aggrieved they didn't get a draw here, to be quite honest. First defeat in 6 there, win, lose. And I think that Derby County will be wanting to get back into winning ways. Swansea City, though, new manager bounce, and this is going to be interesting what you think. Swansea Derby, then. What do you think, indeed? 1-2, 1-1, 1-3, 1-2, 1-2, 0-1. I'm actually going to go and sit on the fence with a Swansea 1, Derby 1. I think Derby on the normal day will win this one. New manager bounce. I actually think it may very well happen here, because of the makeup of the squad. Watford versus Preston North End next, and Watford are in 11th. Preston are in 5th, and they did drop a little, then they sort of came back up. Preston are doing quite well for me. Watford are doing they're a little bit inconsistent for me. However, let's have a look as we go to Watford Preston. Watford win, lose, win, draw, win, and last time out it was the Derby 2, Watford 3. So we'll not cover that game. I think that as we said there, it was a bit of an odd game. Watford did deserve to win it, but they were both very good in front of goal. But for a neutral, it just wasn't a game to really enthuse the neutral for me. So we go to Preston. Lose, win, draw, lose. Again, a little bit up and down. And Preston, they started so well, and I kept saying, oh yeah, they're going to win this one. And predicting some amazing wins, didn't we? With your help, of course. And Preston here had but look, they both were firing off at goal and having a good shot, and occasionally, one in sort of 4 or 5 were on target, and you're thinking, yeah, this is a good game. Blackburn, however, marginally less shots at target, but actually half of them were on target. So 15 shots for Preston, 4 on target, 1 in the net. 12 shots for Blackburn, but 6 on target, 2 in the net. They were just more clinical, and that is the story of the game. And you watch the replays and you're thinking, yeah, they were just more clinical. Blackburn were just slightly better passers, slightly better at possession, slightly better at their precision in the final third. Probably just a little bit more than slightly. Blackburn did deserve to win this, and I think Preston will be thinking, what do we have to do to turn that round? Because Preston have been doing so well, and Preston will have been thinking, that one defeat in 5 there, and you think they must have been thinking at home against Blackburn they should have been playing a lot better than that, but it didn't happen. So what are you thinking with Watford Preston then? 3-0, 2-1, 1-1, 1-2, 3-1 and 1-3. You really are sitting either side of the fence and on it. Thank you very much. This could go either way, couldn't it? I think this one could quite... Looking at the number of goals there, both of them can score, both of them cannot score. I think both will score. To me, it's going to be a 2-1. It's just that you've gone 2-1 in both directions, you lot. You really haven't helped me one bit, have you? I think for consistency during the season, I have to go with Watford 1, Preston 2. My subscribers, a few of them are from Preston. I'm going to follow you with a Preston win. Southampton-Leicester next. So we go for the last game of the first batch of these, the midweek games, with Southampton-Leicester. Southampton started to get a few points now, haven't they? They were embedded at the bottom. 10th place for Leicester, 16th place for Southampton. And both of these have drawn 6, so it's going to be quite interesting. This Southampton lose, win. Against, and I'm going to say it straight away, against Leicester City, lose, draw, win. Yeah, it's just that the last game for Southampton was, of course, the walkover of Charlton. Charlton won, Southampton 5. Charlton just capitulated in defence, didn't they? They just, to allow someone to come to your ground and get 60% possession, 23 shots, and I think they could have got more. And 8 of those shots on target for Southampton. And again, I would have been looking for a lot more if you've got that sort of possession, constantly just walking your way into the Charlton half or Charlton third. And they should have done a lot better. But the Southampton side did let Charlton have a fair few shots. And they do tend to pull that back line forward a bit. And quite often, especially at the beginning of the season, you could see them panicking, running back, 3 of them running back to try and put some sort of defence up as they burst through the back line and broke that offside trap. And here again, they just didn't quite have it in defence. However, they still won 5-1, and I know you're going to how can you say the defence is rubbish when they won 5-1? Because they had 12 shots, Charlton, and they only managed 2 of them on target. Southampton managed to get back each time for these shots, and I think that they really, if they could just sort out this defence and stop people from even getting a sight on goal, this Southampton side could really fly up that league. Leicester City then, lose, draw, win. Last time out, 2-1 win. Leicester 2, Stoke City 1. Stoke City getting the consolation goal on 48 minutes. Because then it sort of dulled down for me. Up to about that point, up to just the first third of the second half, it was a nice game. It was nice to throw, pretty even indeed. And then Stoke City started to push and do really, really well. For me, Stoke City were just edged this one. But Leicester City, 2 shots on target, 2 in the net. It's their usual, when they get a shot, Leicester, it tends to be in the net. More shots, please, and you get more goals, basically. Stoke City, though, did show that this side, the Leicester City side, you can control them, and you can control the game with possession. So, for me, Southampton just have the edge, perhaps, but probably up front, Leicester City, they both have a similar issue for me. That back third is the issue from both of these sides. And I know what you're saying. Yeah, but Southampton won 5-1. Look at the number of shots that they allowed the opposition to get at target. And you start to get a little bit worried. The last time I said that for a League Two side, they said exactly the same thing. You've really got to be able to stop the opposition from even seeing the net. So they just cannot. They have to pass it back to try and get in a different direction. That's what Southampton need to do, but it's also what Leicester need to do, because they're great clinical up front. But they just let Stoke City here have a little bit too much of that ball and a little bit too much ability to crack one off at goal. So what are you saying with Southampton, Leicester? 2-3, 2-2, 2-1, 2-2, 1-2 and 1-0. I'm actually going with the majority there. Southampton 2, Leicester 2. Let's move on to the next day's games. Blackburn versus QPR, and Blackburn are in. Blackburn are in 18th. QPR are in 15th. Blackburn lose, win, 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 lose, win, and Blackburn for me. Probably a little bit inconsistent. I mean, you can see 3 wins in a row, but four wins out of the last 5 games. So they have started to get a little bit more consistent more recently, whereas QPR haven't. So let's have a look at the last game. Preston 1, Blackburn 2, and they actually came back from behind this Blackburn side, which is a good sign of a good team that can come back from behind so well to win it in the second half. Preston, though, this was a game of pretty much 2 halves. I think Preston really did well in the first half, but Blackburn just came back with a little bit more prowess in the second half. I suppose if we were looking at this game, it's a pretty much even Stevens game. But in the end, Blackburn did manage to win this one. Slightly better passing, slightly better technical ability, and slightly better in the attacking performance there, with 15 shots for Preston, 4 on target, 1 in the net, and Blackburn 12 shots at target, 6 on target and 2 in the net. So pretty good there for Blackburn. QPR win, lose, 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 draw and a win. Empty, very much up and down, isn't it? But QPR here managed to get a QPR 3, Hull City 2 win. QPR really should have made less of a meal of this. 26 shots, 8 on target, 3 in the net. Hull City just reduced to just 8 shots, 4 on target and 2 in the net. It shouldn't have been 3-2. This should have been a lot bigger gap than just 1. What are you saying for Blackburn versus QPR? 2-1, 2-2, 1-2, 1-0, 1-2 and 1-0. You're really sitting on both sides of the fence here, but I think that QPR for me, I'm going to go with a QPR. I know people are going to think that it should be a Blackburn win here, but I just think, did QPR do enough to win this one? Yeah, I'm going to go with the one person who said Blackburn 1, QPR 2. I've just got a feeling that they're going to be that they're just starting to back up again, QPR. Let's see if I'm right. And we start with Millwall versus Sheffield Wednesday. Millwall in 7th, Sheffield Wednesday in 24th on -4. I did think Sheffield Wednesday were going to start to do something on the pitch when Chansiri left, but it didn't happen. Millwall win, draw, lose. Last time out, a defeat to Portsmouth, and it was Portsmouth 3, Millwall 1 with Joe Bryan sent off on 67. Portsmouth, a couple of cracking goals, weren't they? I mean, yeah, I saw those goals and they were brilliant goals. And they've not been scoring, and then all of a sudden they started to find goals from places where they didn't expect. Two centre backs there, wasn't it? And you're thinking, hey, everybody's gaining on the game now. So Portsmouth are showing some really good skill here. And they really did just about control this one. Look, when Millwall had that sending off, you'd think that they'd step up a gear. Actually, Millwall seemed to actually step up a gear being just 10 men, which is really, really weird. But don't you see that quite often? Up to that sending off, Portsmouth were really solid. And then Millwall got that sending off, and they were more solid for me. But still, shots on target, I think, here are most clear. Well, it is. Portsmouth had 16 shots, 8 on target, 3 in the net. Bloody good. And 2 centre-backs scoring, of course. Millwall, 7 shots, 2 on target, 1 in the net. I think they would have been thinking, why did it take a red card to play better? Why did it? Now, That said, with their playing a Sheffield Wednesday team, obviously rooted to the bottom, lose, draw, lose. Last time out, it was Sheffield Wednesday 0, Sheffield United 3. I said it was going to be a Sheffield Wednesday win. And on the whole, Sheffield Wednesday kept the ball really well, but they were playing for a draw. For me, they were playing for a draw, not to lose it. And that was a shame, because I thought, it's a derby. It's a derby. Anything can happen in a derby. Go for it. Get out there and try and win it. A little bit like the Tottenham game the other day against Arsenal. Tottenham fans saying, we just didn't go for it. We didn't actually try and win it. And it's a derby. Anything can happen. Arsenal are better, but, we didn't even try. And here it was a similar story. Wednesday rooted to the bottom. United aren't that far ahead, and yet they seem to go at it with that same mindset that Tottenham did. Let's just not lose this game. And unfortunately, 0 shots on target for Wednesday, 7 on target for Sheffield United, 3 in the net. That inability to score just went out the window for Sheffield United, didn't it? And I can see where both these teams are really in the doldrums, aren't they? Millwall are at home. I actually think that they're slightly better at home. Both the last 2 defeats were away, in fact. So perhaps they've got a marginally better statistic at home in the last 6 anyway. Sheffield Wednesday, 2 points out of their last 6 games. You have to worry for them, don't you? What are you thinking with this one? Millwall Wednesday, 4-1, 3-1, 1-0, 2-1, 1-2 and 4-1. Can't see 4 goals. I can't see a huge amount of goals here. I really can't. I think the best score from what you're saying is Millwall 1, Wednesday 0. I'm going to go for a low-scoring one there as we move to the next game, which is my team, my local team anyway, Sheffield United versus Portsmouth, and we'll go to that one. Obviously, Sheffield United, are not doing too well in 22nd. Portsmouth in 19th. They needed that win last game week, because if they hadn't, they'd have been right in that bottom melee for relegation. And again, they need something out of this one. Sheffield United then win, lose, draw, win. Last time out, Sheffield Wednesday game. Look, it wasn't a game to be remembered. This was a pretty dull, lacklustre performance from both teams. Sheffield Wednesday just hitting this Sheffield United hitting this Wednesday team that didn't want to lose, and yet they still didn't get the most. But they only got 40% possession-ish in this game. 11 shots, 7 on target, 3 in the net. They were pretty clinical, which is not what they usually are in front of goal. This Sheffield United team. But they were in this game. So that edge, to me, just think about that. The rest of the game was pretty much as it has been. Pretty poor. Pretty boring for me. But as a Rotherham fan, I'm going to say that about Sheffield, aren't I? The only benefit I would see from the Sheffield United side was the fact that they were a lot more clinical in front of goal. A lot more clinical. Playing Portsmouth then, lose, draw, lose, win. Last time out, a good win against Millwall. Portsmouth 3, Millwall 1. Now this side, the supporters here say, look, Portsmouth are playing better away from home. Right, okay, let's take that then, because I actually think they've been playing well at home. But this game was at home. Portsmouth 3, 10-man Millwall 1. They allowed Millwall to push quite well after they got that red card. In fact, Millwall's goal was literally 5 minutes after they got the red card. They did play really well after they got the red card. Doesn't that always happen? Portsmouth were just slightly ahead here. They 16 shots, 8 on target, 3 in the net. Millwall 7 shots, 2 on target, 1 in the net. I think that Portsmouth were controlling this game, and they actually tried a game plan that just tried to get in the lead and control the game so that they didn't lose it. But they did lose it when they got that red card, Millwall, and Millwall sort of pushed back at Portsmouth. That's a little bit of a concern. I really don't know which way this is going to go. Sheffield United, Portsmouth, what are you thinking? 1-2, 2-0, 1-0, 2-0, 2-2, 2-2. Because I can't really see which way it's going to go, I'm going to go Sheffield United 2, Portsmouth 2, and sit on the fence as we go to Wrexham versus Bristol City. Now, Wrexham, yeah, they I don't think they were happy with their position at first, but now it's Bristol City in 4th, Wrexham in 14th, but it's really, really flat. I mean, their Wrexham are in 14th, 4 points away from Bristol City in 4th, and 5 points from Swansea in 20th. So, hey, it's a really level league. So, Wrexham, draw, lose, win, draw, win, draw. They do seem to be just riding the luck in a few of these games, and they're getting points where, if you look at the replay, how on earth did they get points from that? Ipswich 0, Wrexham 0, and Ipswich were just on the front foot throughout this game. 0 shots on target for Wrexham, only 2 in the entire game. Their passing was okay, but it was always in defence as they tried to stop Ipswich from getting the ball and having a shot. 19 shots, 8 on target, none in the net for Ipswich. Wrexham were really, really lucky here. They really did ride their luck. So that's the Wrexham last game. Bristol City, win, lose, draw, win. Last time out, a good win here. Bristol City 3, Swansea City 0. And like we said earlier, it was a pretty even game. This was a nice mid-table game. 1-1, 2-2. That's all I can say. Everything was there was some good passing. When each team got the ball, they kept it really well. Possession good, passing good quality, good clinical ability. Just neither team really outstood the other one. But Bristol City had some really cracking shots here, and they just managed to get it was the clinical ability and the ability to get in a really, really, really good opening. I mean, Bristol City had nearly all of the open chances here. Really did. So that's probably the only thing that I didn't mention in the last time we went to this game when we mentioned Stoke. When we mentioned Swansea. But yeah, the Bristol City side managed to get into some damn good positions, and that's what I want to think about when you're looking at the scoreline here, Wrexham versus Bristol City, because I think that they can get in some good shooting positions. 2-2, 2-2, 1-1, 3-1, 3-1, 1-1. And I think that you've got this totally wrong. I'm going to play my joker. I'm going to reverse a couple of your scores. I'm going to go Wrexham 1, Bristol City 3, because they showed that they could get into some damn good scoring positions with open net opportunities, and I think that they'll do that again. West Brom, Birmingham then to finish with, and West Brom are in 17th, about where I thought they'd finish actually, and Birmingham are in 9th, about where I thought they'd finish. So these two teams for me are probably doing what I expected them to do. West Brom, lose, draw, lose, win, lose, and they just, like I say, this was the Coventry game. Coventry 3, West Brom 2. Were sending off Malumbi on 49 minutes, and that really did do them, didn't it? Although I thought, on the whole, I mean, watching the replays on this, I thought West Brom did really, really well, and I did think that they'd come away with a draw all the way going towards the end. I'm thinking, although they're taking Coventry on the break, when they had the ball, which wasn't all that often, West Brom did look semi-dangerous. look, Coventry run this game, really, didn't they? Yeah, they did. 67% possession, 24 shots, 11 on target, 3 in the net. They would have been thinking, why didn't we get more of those on target? Why didn't we get more in the net? It could have been 3-4, 5-0. But West Brom took them on the break. And I think that they really did do extremely well. And I think that they tightened up a little bit for me after a while, but I think that sending off really did make a little bit of a difference with that final bit. Watching this on Sky, and I'm thinking that little bit of edge at the end just wasn't there, was it? So West Brom, good at taking people out on the break in that game. Playing Birmingham, win, lose, win, win, lose, win. Last time out, Birmingham 4, Norwich City 1, and I think it could have been more than that, to be quite honest. Birmingham really did do really well for me. Was it a 4-1 win? Yeah, absolutely. I thought that Birmingham's passing was brilliant. And look, the possession was really good. It was 50-50, but the possession from Birmingham, I thought, was really, really good. It was an enjoyment to watch the Birmingham play. Norwich, yeah, they kept the ball, but then they tended to keep it at the back. They did get forward. And if you look at the stats seem to say that this was an even game. But when you actually look at the game, the stats don't really, for me, match the actual game itself. If you watch the game, I think that Norwich were just a little bit lackluster. They didn't seem to have that pizzazz, that technical, that desire to win just wasn't there. But they had the chances and they had the shots, and I suppose, yeah, if you're looking at the game itself stat wise, it gives a little bit of a rosier picture. With 15 shots for Norwich, 16 shots for Birmingham, 7 shots on target for Norwich, 1 in the net, 6 on target for Birmingham, 4 in the net. This desire to win just wasn't in it for Norwich City, but the Birmingham side made the most of the fact that the desire wasn't there and made them pay for it. Now, West Brom versus Birmingham, I think, could be one of these high-scoring games. Certainly can. West Brom can score. Can they score 2 or 3? Probably, possibly. What are you saying? West Brom, Birmingham, 1-3, 1-3, 1-3, 1-1, 2-3, 0-2. I'm going to go with the majority there. I think I'm going to go West Brom 1, Birmingham 3. Thank you for watching. Do like and subscribe. Watch me on Saturday afternoon as we go through the scores live at 3 o'clock. And I'll see you later. Like and subscribe to John S. Sports Channel.